Hi yogis, and welcome to this gentle slow flow practice. For today's practice you will need a block or a cushion or a book. It is completely optional, you just might want to have it for a bit of extra support. So grabbing any props that you might want to have beside you, placing them beside your mat, and we're going to begin today's practice in a child shape. So taking the knees wide, big toes to touch, and the arms can gently start to reach forward. And taking a few breaths in this shape, taking this opportunity to check in with where you're at today, mentally, how you're feeling, physically, how your body is, and just observing, not judging. And maybe this is a chance for you to set an intention for your practice. And so maybe there's a word you'd like to bring to mind to just come back to during your practice. Or this might even be an opportunity to dedicate your practice to someone. And we'll be keeping things nice and grounded today. And the first little movement will be to gently start to take your gaze up towards your hands, and then starting to walk your hands a little over to the right side of your mat. Your hands might even come onto the floor or the ground beside the mat. Still keeping that left sit bone connected. Trying not to come up too far onto one side. And then looking back up, walking the hands mindfully across the mat and over towards the left side this time. A gentle side stretch to begin. Keeping everything connected. And then taking the hands back to the middle, back to that child shape. Maybe just acknowledging, even after this little bit of movement, if anything feels different or the same, any sensations that might be arising. And taking a deep breath in here, and gentle breath out. And for rising up onto the fingertips and walking the hands back towards the knees. And then taking your right hand behind you, rising up onto the fingertips and gently lifting the left arm to the sky. A little openness through the heart space here. Circling the left arm down, right arm will lift as left fingertips come behind you. And keeping with this circular motion, swapping over sides, left arm lifts. Left arm comes down, right arm reaches towards the sky. And then this time maybe staying with that same flow, or maybe lifting the hips. Hips come down as you swap over sides. Left hand supports you as hips reach up and forward as the arm lifts. Taking this cycle once more on either side before returning back to sit on your heels. Taking the hands to the hips and then lifting up onto the knees. And as you arrive here, lifting the arms towards the sky, reaching tall. And then one more little twist here. Taking the gaze behind you as the right arm begins to drop down and just taps the back of the right thigh. Inhaling the right arm back up. Left arm turns and taps the back of your left thigh. And just a little repeat of this movement. Right arm touches back and lifts. Over to the left side and back up. And then coming down to a tabletop position. Settling the wrists underneath the shoulders, knees can come underneath the hips. And finding your comfortable position here. Straight away moving through a couple of rounds of cat-cow. As you inhale, lower the belly, look forward. And as you exhale, arching the back, tucking the chin into the chest. Inhale opens up through the heart space. And exhale rounds through the back. One more round, opening on the breath in. And then on the breath out, start to lift your knees and finding your way up and back to a downward facing dog. And take a moment here to settle into this shape. Maybe it's your first downward facing dog of the day. You might separate the fingers a little wider, finding a comfortable space for your wrists. Maybe pedal out the feet, bending one knee at a time, taking an opportunity to warm up through the toes a little. And then settling back into this shape, knowing that there's an option always to lower your knees back to the ground. And then begin to walk your hands all the way back towards the back of the mat, coming to a forward fold. A generous bend can come into the knees. An option here to maybe grab hold of the elbows, coming to this ragdoll shape. Maybe sway from side to side, maybe feeling the head hang heavy, before returning the fingertips to the mat. And then gently rising up to standing, rolling up through the spine nice and slowly. Arms come wide and high as you arrive. And then drawing the hands to your heart center. Taking a moment to pause here in standing. Maybe again bringing that intention back to your mind. And checking in, feeling comfortable through the feet as the arms lift once again to the sky. And like we did on our knees, lowering the right arm behind you, just gently tapping the back of the right thigh with the hand. Right arm lifts over to the left side. Left hand taps left thigh. Back to the middle and repeating this once more on either side. Just circling through the top half of the body before coming back to standing, and the arms will come wide as you come all the way back down to a standing forward fold. Taking a breath in, come to a halfway lift. Fingertips might come to the shins. And then making your way back out to a downward facing dog. Cleansing breath in as you arrive back in your downward facing dog. Maybe through the nose and then exhaling out through the mouth. And then on your next breath in, lift the right leg to the sky behind you, keeping the toes flexed as you start to open up that hip. And then drawing that leg back to the center, curling it all the way in, and that right foot is going to find its way in between the hands, however it would like to get there, lowering down the left knee and untucking the toes. This is where you might reach for your block, placing it on the inside of the right foot. On a breath in, straightening the front leg, half Hanumanasana. Exhale, coming forward to your low lunge. Inhale, coming back, straightening the leg. And exhale, coming forwards. A little bit of opening through the hips. Taking this movement twice more. Using the breath to float backwards and forwards. And then as you come back to your low lunge, both hands will frame the front foot. As the right hand stays down, the left hand will reach away from the block, coming to an open twist here. You might circle that arm around before taking the left hand back down to the block. Left hand will stay down, right arm will open this time. Again, option to circle that arm around, rotating through the shoulder. Before bringing the hand all the way back down, removing the block to one side. And then finding your way back to your downward facing dog. A little pedal out of the feet here as you arrive. And then taking an inhale and lift the left leg to the sky and beginning to open up that hip. Drawing the left knee in towards the nose, and then that foot will find its way in between the hands. As you lower down the right knee, untuck toes. This time, if you need, moving the block to the inside of the left foot. Breathing in, maybe leaning forwards a little, and then breath out, leaning back into your half Hanumanasana. Breath in brings you forward. Breath out leans back this time. Doing this 2 more times. Not worrying so much about if the leg is straight or how deep you think you need to go into this pose. And as you come back to your low lunge, The left hand will stay down on the outside of the left foot as the right arm reaches to the sky. Maybe a circle of the arm all the way around before coming back down. And then switching sides. Right hand stays down, left arm lifts and circles. Before coming back down, framing the front foot. And picking up the back knee, pressing back to your downward facing dog. And from here, rolling forwards to a high plank. Again, option here to lower down the knees if you would like. And then everyone lower down your knees, coming all the way down onto your belly and hugging the elbows up and back for your baby cobra shape. Lower your chest back down to the mat before picking yourself up and back, maybe through a tabletop, back to your downward facing dog shape. Maybe a breath in here, letting yourself settle in this shape. And then on your next inhale, the right leg will lift to the sky and begin to open up that hip. And as you draw some circles in one direction with the knee, before drawing that right knee all the way in towards the nose, really arching through the back. And then placing that foot between the hands. And staying up high on the back toes this time and taking a few little pulses backwards and forwards, starting to move a little more through the front of the hips and through the hamstring. Rolling through the toes and just having a bit of free movement here. Opening up your body. And then start to bring the weight forward, keeping a bend in the front knee. The right hand stays down as the left arm opens to a nice open twist. Taking some circles with that arm all the way around and bringing it back down. Left hand stays down this time as right arm opens. A circle or two in one direction. Before bringing it back down to the mat. Picking up the front foot. Taking it back, downward facing dog. And straight away lifting the left leg up and back towards the sky, three-legged dog. Begin to open up that hip and drawing some circles with the knee. Playing with a little bit of balance here. And before drawing that knee towards the nose, arching through the spine. And then stepping or placing the foot between the hands. And a few pulses backwards and forwards here. You can stay up high on the back toes as you move. Feeling into the feet there, connection to the ground. Noticing maybe if one side feels different or the sensations are different. And practicing that without judgment. As you come forward, the left hand stays down. Deep bend in that left knee as the right arm begins to open. You can take a circle all the way around before coming back to the floor. And then the right hand will stay down. Left arm opens to the sky. Simple twist. Circling the arm. And then bringing it down to frame the front foot. Stepping all the way back, downward facing dog. As you roll your way forwards to a high plank shape, option to lower the knees, of course. And float your way down to the mat. Coming through your choice of back bend, maybe a baby cobra or an upward facing dog. And then move your way back, tucking toes, downward facing dog. A couple of breaths here, maybe a little bit of play through the toes, through the heels, lifting, lowering. Before walking the hands back towards the feet at the back of your mat. And coming to a forward fold, soft through the knees. And gently rising your way up to standing. Head is the last thing to rise, and arms can come wide and high. Collecting some energy and drawing the hands to your heart center. And then starting to take your hands to your hips and taking yourself out to a wide-legged stance on your mat. So edges of the feet parallel with both ends of the mat, and you can bring your block in front of you. As the hands stay on the hips and you lift up through the chest, maybe lifting the arms to the sky, and then hinging from the hips, leaning your weight forwards. Maybe the hands come to the block. You can draw the block a little closer underneath the head. And play with a little bit of balance here by distributing the weight evenly through the toes and the heels, maybe a little rock backwards and forwards. And there can be a deep bend in the elbows. And taking a halfway lift, lifting high onto the fingers on a breath in. On a breath out, folding forwards. Again, lifting halfway up, rising to the fingertips flat back. And breath out, folding down. And then taking the left hand to the block or to the floor in front of your face as you start to peel open through the right hand. Opening up towards the side. And then switching sides, right hand stays down this time as left arm begins to lift to the sky, opening up. Again, swapping sides, left arm down, right arm reaches for this twist. And changing sides over to the left before returning to the block, moving it out of the way and lifting up onto the fingertips, and then starting to turn your toes out towards the sides of your mat. And coming to a little side flow here. So starting to bend deeply into the right knee. Left toes can lift off the floor as you then start to travel over to the opposite side. And the hands can start to walk their way across the mat in front of you. Coming into a little Skandasana flow here. Feeling into the inner thigh, the inner muscles of the legs. Keeping the toes active as you switch from side to side. You might notice the shape starting to change as you begin to move from one side to another. And then coming to pause over to the right side. You can stay up high on the right toes. It's okay if the heel doesn't reach the floor here. You might need a moment to adjust. Maybe playing with balancing the fingertips on the floor. Or maybe even bringing the hands to the heart space in Anjali Mudra. And then embracing any movements, wobbles, wiggles, before placing the hands back down. And then starting to travel over to the opposite side. Deep bend into the left knee as right toes engage. As you find your center here. Again, you can maybe keep the hands down on the floor for balance, or have a little play with bringing the hands up in towards the heart space to Anjali Mudra. And returning the hands back down, and then coming back to your wide-legged forward fold. Inhaling halfway lift for one breath, forward fold. Starting to turn back towards the top of your mat, and then finding your way up and back to a downward facing dog. Rolling your weight forward to a high or low plank shape. Knees, chest and chin come down. Back bend of your choice. Before coming back to that downward facing dog shape for one last time. Lifting high to the toes, drawing the knees down to the mat. Taking them nice and wide, and you can bring your hands in front of your forehead here, stacking them on top of one another, letting your forehead rest. As you let your entire body come to a restful position in your child shape. letting the breath catch up with you here and checking in with the body, noticing how it's feeling, and acknowledging any thoughts that might be coming and going. And starting to walk your hands back towards your knees. And starting to roll your way over, coming to a comfortable seat. And begin to make your way into a comfortable seat of your choice. That might be coming to a half lotus shape, might be coming to sit on the block. Might be to come to rest on your back if sitting isn't available for you today. And spending a few moments here, becoming mindful of the space around you. Maybe wherever you are, noticing the touch of the mat underneath you, the clothes on your skin. Maybe finding a little more softness throughout the body. And if you'd like to here, you can maybe start to flip the palms open towards the sky. Maybe connecting the thumb and first finger. And if you've chosen to bring your hands into Gyan Mudra, this mudra can help enhance focus and concentration of your mind and can be helpful when trying to reach a meditative state. And in Sanskrit, this word means knowledge or wisdom. And so while you're sitting here, using this chance to acknowledge your infinite wisdom, knowledge, and your incredible body. And taking this moment to be incredibly grateful to be where you are in this space, within yourself. And as the hands begin to make their way into Anjali Mudra, bringing the palms to touch at the heart center, combining your breath, body, mind, soul, and spirit together. As you bow your head towards your hands, maybe saying to yourself, Namaste.